Hi guys, welcome back to Crafting with Sue. Today I'm going to show you the process I use to make a few dangly Christmas ornaments. I've got one here that I can show you. Obviously I'm going to have to lay him down because obviously you can't see him dangling. So we have some sea glass, we have some repurposed Christmas baubles which are no longer required. We have some rescued beads from a necklace that was going to be thrown in the bin, so I dismantled the necklace. The ring here is from a wind chime, but because it was going a bit rusty and what have you, I just covered it with the twine just to give it a new lease of life, basically. And it is actually glued on, so it's not gonna unravel anytime soon. So this is the dingly dangly for the Christmas. So I'm going to show you the process of what I do, because I don't make them all the same. So I'll show you the process of how I will go about doing this, which I'll do with you right now. As I say, there's another one. I mean, it's still a dingly dangly with the same sort of silver baubles, but it's just like a little bit of Victorian pipe stem in there as an embellishment. But I mean, basically, it's pretty basic, this one. Okay. So what we start off with is the ring. And as you can see, it's quite discoloured, but it's already got a pre-drilled hole. So that is the top, the piece that I will hang the items from. So I start off with some old string. This is was around a parcel I had, so I've just basically repurposing it. Save throwing it away. So how I measure it is I go round once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I go 5 times round. I give myself plenty, because as you can see, there is a difference in the thickness of the twine itself. Some of it's quite thick, some of it's quite skinny. So for good coverage, got to make sure that you have enough to go around. So what I then do is I get an all-purpose strong adhesive, and I just put a little ditty tiny dab on the start point. Basically, it's just to make sure that I have contact and I can make sure the end is secure. So what I do then is I just make sure that the end of the string is covered in the contact glue, and then I just use my thumb and I hold it in place. I then use some very tacky glue. The reason I use this is because it's got a nozzle and I don't have to worry about, I'll pop it into the top, nose down, and it's easier to get out of the jug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bead across, and then I'm going to start to thread, and still holding that piece down, because obviously that contact glue needs to stay put and firm. And I'm just working my way around, threading the string around the actual metal itself. And that is just, the glue is there just to make sure that it stays in place when it's all complete, so that it doesn't unravel itself, because there's nothing worse than having some unravel. So when I get to this point, I've got approximately an inch. What I do is I just sort of try and wrap that around my finger and my little finger to keep it tight, but I'm still keeping pressure on the start there. And then I'm going to just rip myself off a piece of masking tape. I'm going to have to let that piece go there. And I'm going to, in the same direction that it's been wound, I'm going to just put a little bit of masking tape there. That's to hold that end to make sure that it stays put. So I'll just show you a continuation from there. So now my hands are a little bit freer for winding on. So as before, I'm just going to put, I'm not going to do the whole ring because that would be silly, but I put on about 1 inch and a little bit. And then I just carry on winding round. I mean, your fingers do get a little bit sticky on this, but that's what soap and water's for. If you're not getting dirty and sticky with your crafting, then there's something wrong. So yeah, so you just carry on and you do the same thing. You do your little leading line, you wind on, and then you get to the end of your leading line of glue, and then you put on your next line, and you continue this until you get to the other end. Now when you get to the other end, it's the reverse of the start. So you get to the finish point. Let me just hold that in place. You get to the finish point, which is going to be here. You trim with a sharp pair of scissors the actual length. Then you get a little bit of your heavy duty contact glue and you just manipulate it around, and then you use your masking tape again to keep it in situ. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a bit of masking tape to hold on what I've done so far with you, because I have one I've started earlier, because this is a long process. It takes ages to dry as well properly. So I'm just going to set this aside and get out my little box of tricks, the bits that I need. So here's one I prepared earlier, so it's now nice and dry. The glue is all dried and it's all set in place. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this masking tape off so I can actually work and see what I'm working at. Oh, that was well stuck to the glue. I think I overdid the glue on that one. So just take off the masking tape on both sides. And then what we're going to do then is we're going to put together the hanging part of it. It's always fiddly because I've got a camera in front of my face, which is sort of obscuring my view a little bit, but we'll get there. Normally comes off in one strip, but I'm just being a bit special today. There we go. So let's move that glue out of the way because we don't need that one anymore. We don't need that one anymore. So here we have our section of wound on Hessian ring. So what I do before I do anything else is I just take my scissors and I just trim off any long hairy bits, because they can be a little bit messy looking, but I just give them a little trim just to make sure that they're not all sticking out and looking like somebody with a bad hair day. Alrighty, so I'm going to pause here and set up for the next section, so I will see you in a few seconds. Bye. Okay, so I've got a few bits and pieces ready for the next stage. So as I said, I've got a that's too big to go through. I have a hole already in this metal doodad, so that's a good place for your hanging start. So I just start off with putting on some split rings and making the length of the split rings what I would like. So I generally with these I do 5, and the 5th one is always connected to the to the hanging loop, whichever that's going to be. So it can be a little bit fiddly, and my fingers aren't as strong as they used to be, so a little bit of bent nose pliers just to help me close them up. Sorry if my hands are in the way, but I'll be able to try and see what I'm doing. I've also got a little doodad here. This helps to pull the metal together so that you're not, as I say, not hurting your fingers. So you just keep adding your loops until, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. Sorry if I'm a bit high, just went off frame there. And then the final one that I'm going to add my hanging loop, which is just a very small key ring basically, but somebody can tie a piece of ribbon to that, depending on how high they want to have the, you know, how far they want the item to dangle, or whether they want to put it on a tree or attach it to a door. Oh, it's entirely up to you where you hang it. You could just attach it to a picture frame underneath and have a piece of ribbon so it's hanging below the picture frame, so it's a nice little wall decoration. So that's the hanging piece done. So now we've got to decide the design for our center. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do today. As I said, I'm not quite sure. I don't know what happened there. I think there was a battery breakdown. So what we're I've not quite decided what we're going to do with the design. So I've got some pre-drilled glass like the last one, but I think I'm going to keep those for the jewellery making. Because I could always put in some, so I'm going to use the baubles for definite, but I just want to see what else I've got available, because I've got some really pretty shells, which because that would look nice, because all I'm doing at the minute is just designing my Christmas look out of things that I've rescued. So I mean, those shells are from people's collections that they did have in a bathroom, and they're being thrown away. Absolutely shocking, I know, but there we are. So then I've sort of got like the shell in the middle, so that's a nice shell. I'm going to need to drill this so I can put another, you know, hanging piece on. Not quite sure which way I want it to go, but we'll figure that one out in a bit. So I'm just laying it down on my cutting board as to how I'd like it to look. And some of these baubles have got like a smoky effect to them, like a real dusty, dirty, or they're really, really bright. So I'm not quite sure whether I want a really, really bright one or a slightly mutated one. I think I'm going to go for the muted one. So I was told by somebody that 3s always look better, so I'm going to take their word for it, because that's what I've been doing with my other baubles. Okay, so all I'm doing is just laying out how I would like it to lay down on the, you know, when it's hanging. So I do have, I wonder if I've got some smaller shells in here that are the same, 3 the same. You don't have to do the same, but I find that, you know, some people do like a uniform look. So here's some shells I picked up on the beach not so long ago. So these are going to need drilling as well. So what I was thinking was we can go with like the seasidey theme. So we can have the bauble attached to the bottom. So we've got a Christmas beach theme. What do you think? Oops, sorry, I nearly dropped you. Like a Christmas beach theme. Well, that's one idea. Might save that one for my next one, to be honest. I'll pop that away, seeing I've already got a ring started. So I'm actually going to grab a few bits and pieces, because I've got a little box here which got some long pins, so basically I can put some attachments on these doodads. So bear with me a second while I just gather my bobs and bits. And then I do have a box of pipe stems still. So I'm just going to take a couple of small pieces, I think. I don't want the bits to be too chunky on the outside. But I do need a little bit of length on the inside one, the middle one. So I probably will go with that one. That's grand. See, I always see things in my head, and then it's like, yeah, that I want to do that. Do it that way. So the shell one is going to be for the other project. So I'm just going to turn these on an angle just so I can see what we're doing here. So here we have 3 baubles, one with a longer piece in, and I think I've got some beads left in my bead box, which I found some beads, and I think they will do quite nicely, because we've got the like a sea theme going on here. Maybe. So we've got some nice purpley blue beads. I think I'd like to do something with the triple. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do on there, but what I might do, excuse me, is attach these really shiny bling bling beads. Replace these ones for bling type beads. 1, 2, 3 of those. So that's going to be hanging from there with those. I might incorporate something with these little star beads. Okay, I think I've decided. So I don't know if you can see this up here. Okay, so I've got a little hanger thing for for 3 things hanging off it. So I'm going to put these little gemmy beads and these little star beads on there. And then I've got some gemmy beads and some pipe stems and some baubles. Now, as I said, these are all rescued bits and bobs that have, you know, come out of people's Christmas box, out of their jewellery box that they don't want anymore. Just dress jewellery, you know, like custom jewellery that was just basically dismantled because it was broken or it was going to be thrown in the bin. I mean, there's always something that you can do to recycle or repurpose some items. All it needs is for you to sit down and think about it, and you'd be surprised what ideas that you can come up with. Right, so I'm going to get prepped and then I'll be back in a second and we'll do the assembly of the bits and bobs. So back in a mo. Okay, so what I've done is I've just located some different pins because I don't want anything dangling off the bottom of the star. And as it's a bead, you know, we don't want to just have a loop at the end. So with the little thing that I'm using now, it's like a little nail, so it's got a flat bottom. So basically it's just going to stop anything being pulled through on that hole. So I thread these on. Then I need to make myself a loop. So I hold the item with the like the nail head on my finger, and I hold the items in situ. So if I think for 1 minute that that's going to be a bit too long, then I will just give it a little nip. And this is where pieces of metal fly everywhere. And then I use the round bail making pliers to make me a little loop. So I just turn that around. I'm just going to bend that backwards just to straighten him up a bit. Now what I want to do is I want to attach it to my dingly dangly because I don't want to add length to my dangle. So I'm just going to close that loop up now. It's a little bit fiddly. I'm sorry if my fingers are in the way, but I have to get in quite close to the item, so bear with me. So I'm just pinching it together just to close the loop up so that the it continues to just dingle dangle and it's not gonna come off. So that's there. That's the first one. So I'm going to continue and let you listen to some music maybe, or shall I just keep chatting? I'll just keep chatting, shall I? So I've been doing a lot of bits and bobs for Christmas. This is just to tide me over, and these are going to be sold in my local shop. I do have others made already, as I say, but I will put some up on my Etsy so that if you guys want to buy any, then, you know, before Crimbo, then please do. Link for the Etsy is in the comments below, so go ahead and do that. So there we go. So just got to add one more dingle, one more dingly dangly. See, there's a little tiny piece of metal. Got to watch out for those bits because they end up in my feet. So the craft room is out of bounds in bare feet, and because the metal does ping off. I'm in a Hoover, obviously. I mean, I'm not completely silly, but if anybody comes in and I've got a piece on the floor that I've missed, then it's a bit daft to walk in with bare feet knowing that there's metal around. Right, so, oops, sorry. There's me nearly knocking a camera over then. So just keep on going round until you've got all the little dingly dangly bits on and they can't come off the actual loop on there. So now I'm quite happy with that. That's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick this up and see how long I want it. Now I'm just going to judge that 4 loops there. So I'm going to want it hanging around this sort of area. So I'm going to guess that's at 3 loops. So I'm going to start with 3 loops and go from there, because I don't want to start with too many just in case. So I'm going to start with 3. So same as before, close the split ring up, and I need my little doodad. So I mean, I'll just keep going back and checking. I'll just hold that, give it a ring. So I think the third one is going to be the final clincher. So just add this to a hole on the actual ring itself and close up. Okay, well, looks like that's done. So now, I don't know if you can see that, we now have a little sparkly dangle. So that'll catch the light. Oops, sorry. That will catch the light, nice and pretty. Okay, so I'm now going to put that to one side and we're going to deal with these bad boys. So I'm going to need a loop at the top, which is absolutely fine. So I'm going to start with the bead and then my pipe. I noticed the hole in the pipe stem is a little big, so I do have in my tray here some silver balls. Now basically that's just to stop the pipe stem from pulling through, because it will pull through the loop. So same again, if it's a tad too long, because I haven't got any shorter ones, if it's a tad too long, give it a little snip just to take off the length, and then make your bell or your loop, and make sure that it's not going to escape the other bit. Right, so this is going to be attaching to the actual main body. So this end is where the bauble is going to be attached to. So you can go ahead and attach the bauble. So just pop that in there, get the bauble, attach that, and pinch close to the split ring. So there we have your bauble. That's going to be attached to your dingle dangle. Me my dingly danglies, eh? Now, because this centre one is longer, just got to be a little bit more aware of the length and what have you. So we'll pop him on, pop the doodad on, and oh, that is going to be a bit tight with a bead on. But in keeping with the rest, we'll pop a bead on anyway. So I don't need to snip any off. I can just be very careful and doing a small loop. So I'll just go to the end of my pliers to get a smaller loop on. Okay, and then just squeeze that so it's tight on the bottom. Get my split ring, attach him on the bottom, get my smoky bauble, stick him in, and then just close the loop up. So there you go. So that's bauble number 2. Now because he's slightly longer, he will hang a little bit lower than the others, but they will be situated at slightly different levels. Right, I'm going to go off camera and finish doing this other one, and then I'll be back in a mo and we'll assemble and show you the finished result. All right, so back in a tick. Okay guys, so I've assembled 2 of the danglies on there already because it is quite time consuming, so they're just hanging there nicely. So what I normally do is I put one directly opposite where the hanger is. So I can't really see on here very well, but that's dead center of the other one. And then about an inch to the side to do the other piece. And then with this one I've already attached the ring, because it is quite a tight fit to get this on. So he's got the ring on, but it is actually split. I haven't sealed it yet. So on this end I need to put on a smaller split ring, and I do have some in here. So just open that up slightly, slide that onto into the little loop that we made earlier, and then just close your split ring up so that it's nice and secure. Okay, so then what I could do then is I just get that ring and I attach it to the open split ring on the product. So I turn him around. Oops, and he's undone. A little bit on the fiddly side, but we'll get there. So let's get him on there. Make sure the opening is at the top, and we're about an inch away from the middle. So get that done. Then we get our pliers, give it a little pinch, and then I'm actually going to squeeze the split ring together. Sorry, it is a bit fiddly and I'm trying to show you what I'm doing at the same time. Not the easiest of things. So squeeze the split ring together. Oh dear. Whatever happened to Blue Peter when it was so easy? You know, they made it so easy, didn't they? Everything was already fixed. That's for my UK viewers. It was a child's program that they used to do all sorts of crafting with leftover cereal boxes and egg trays and what have you. And they used to make it look so simple. But they had a team of people that would have pre-made a lot of the stuff. And also they had outtakes, didn't they? So I'm just going to keep on persevering so that you can have a little giggle while I'm trying to manipulate these wires, these split rings. It's all good fun. Alrighty, so what I do then is I just clamp it down a little bit so there's no sharpy edges, and that is now secure to my ring. So I'm now going to call this a finished product. So I'm going to lay him back down again so that we can see him. Let's lay the danglies down so that it can be seen. Alrighty. So here's the finished product. So we've got the recycled ring, recycled beads, and you know, the shiny beads and stars. And then we've got the baubles with some Victorian clay pipe stems that I found on the side of the river. And that completes our dangle. So yeah, that's quite pleasing. So I'm going to pop this one onto our Etsy store. So if you want to buy this one, it'll be on there. So pop along. By the time you see this video, it should be up there. And if you don't use it for this year, obviously you can always use it for next. So I'll end this video here. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content of crafting. Sorry it was a bit sort of haphazard in places, but all your support is greatly appreciated. Thumbs up, subscribe, and all the usual. And until next time, see you again.